Hi, lovely people. I was going to say, hey guys, but hey guys, I hope you guys are well. You are watching or listening to Rewriting Life's Canvas with me, your host, Esther, or Est. You know, there was a time in my life where I felt like only people that were really close to me should call me Est. Do you know these are sometimes the childish things that, so I'm trying to figure out my note situation over again. Apple has a new upgrade, and so on iPads, and so it's just a mess. Oh, there we go, got it. But yeah, there was a time in my life where I felt like if you're not really, really close to me, I just think there's certain things that you do when you're younger that it's just, when you look back at it now, it's cringe, it's silly, it's not that deep, really and truly. But maybe because I'm in a place where I just think that life is about forming human connections and knowing people on a deeper level and just being, just getting to know people. I really value that. But there was a time in my life where I'd feel like, if you're not really close to me, why are you calling me Est? It's a nickname, it's not that deep. But then I kind of do get it though, because I don't know, I'm actually, now that I've started the sentence, I'm a bit half and half. Because to be fair, if you meet somebody and they introduce themselves as, hi, I'm Esther, why say, no, hi, Est? I said, I'm Esther. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, this podcast is hosted by me, Esther, or Est. I hope you guys are well. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for watching my videos, for listening to my podcast. It's really great. Really, really great. Appreciate it. I have come straight from brunch. Not brunch, actually, lunch. I would say brunch. I would say lunch, sorry. I have come straight from lunch with some new friends that I made. And you know what? Make new friends. It's very beautiful and very wholesome to have people in your life that you've known forever. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think what I love the most about it is it's just the growth of it all. So for example, I went to my friend's baby shower last week. She might be listening to this, say, hey girl, I'm not going to say your name, but hey girl. Just in case, don't want to put your business out there with the baby and everything. But I went to my friend's baby shower and it's so, I find stuff like that so wholesome because we've really watched each other grow. We've really watched each other do amazing things and reach different milestones. I get to see you in different eras of your life, wearing different hats in your life. And it's just the best thing. And when my friends get married and my friends have babies, I get a bit emotional because I'm just, this is so wonderful. This is so beautiful. For example, her younger sister looks like her when I met my friend. My friend who looks young and gorgeous and beautiful, of course, but it's just the fact that we've known each other. How many years have I known her for now? What year did I go to sixth form? I think that was 2000 and... Went to uni 2014. So it's about 2011. So that was what? 15 years ago. So it's just so beautiful when you think back. At one point, we were all trying to decide what we're going to do. We were doing all sorts and trying to revise and studying together and trying to figure out what uni we want to go to, what we want to do. And we did all of that, and then partners came into it, and then watching each other get married, and then now having, gosh, it's so wholesome. But anyway, make new friends. It's important to make new friends. And I think, especially as an adult, there is a thing with adults feeling the difficulties of making new friends as an adult. That is definitely a thing. But I think it's because, do you know what? Yeah. In the older I get, there are many things and many different ways that I want to be childlike. I love children, right? I love children. I love seeing children just play. I love seeing children exist. I love seeing children in their element of being so carefree and not caring. And there's a innocence and naivety that they live in that I just absolutely love. I love it. I admire it. And I always find it sad that as adults, the older we get, there's so many things that fears kick in. For example, right, I've got hydrophobia. Margs made fun of me one time saying this when I was on TDA because I said that I drowned. If you go on the TDA page, you scroll down quite a bit, you will see the clip where I said I drowned. And these people are telling me I did not drown because I'm alive. I said, I sunk. Okay, it sunk. So for example, I've got a fear of water, but I know that if I ever had children, it's very important to me to not pass those fears on to them. Same way I'm scared of animals. I'm scared of dogs. I'm scared of dogs. I'm scared of cats. I'm scared of pigeons. I think I'm scared of pigeons the worst. I always say if I die and I get to heaven and there's pigeons there, oh, I'm in hell. I'm in hell. It kind of will be like The Good Place. If you never watched that, it's on Netflix, I believe. Such a good show. Such a good show. That's what it would be like. That would be my bad place, for real. So anyway, what was I even saying before I got there? Fears. So the fears that I have as an adult that I know that I wouldn't want to pass on to my children if I was to have children, that I would want to work on before I have them, because there's just an innocent and a love of life that children live with. And I just think it's the most precious thing. And so when it comes to friendships and being an adult and making friendships, if a lot of us move childlike in that sense, you would make friends easier. But as adults, you think, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself. You're feeling a bit shy. You don't want to be a beg. I hate that whole thing about, oh, don't be a beg. Beg it. Because when you're applying for 1,000 jobs, don't you think you're being a beg to these companies? You are. Don't you think you're being a beg on LinkedIn? You are. But do you care? No. Why? Because you've got bills and holidays you want to go to. So we need to what's the word? Oh crap, what's the word? I had it in my head. But we need to cultivate, adopt. I think adopt is the word. Let's go for adopt. We need to adopt that kind of mindset when it comes to making friends as adults, where meet somebody and just talk to them. I do that. You guys already know I have no problem shooting my shot. No problem shooting my shot for men. No problem shooting my shot to women. No problem shooting my shot for jobs. No problem shooting my shot whatsoever. Because I just think that in life, if you want something, if you want circumstances to change, if there's something about your life that you don't like, why wouldn't you just go for it? Why not? You might as well. So that's how I think about even when it comes to friendships, where there's people, and I want to move countries. I'm planning by God's grace at some point to move to Lagos in the near future, right? And I have to make friends in a new city as an adult, because the friends I had when I was a kid, people have moved everywhere in life, people all over the world. But even then, like, my interest as an adult now is different. And which is one of the best things, where you get to meet different people that do different things, and you get to bond over the type of different interests that you have. Like, one of the things I love, right, is when I go to a wedding and there's like different friends tables, and you find out that your friend, like, you only know one part of your friend, right? Or whatever. You only know the parts of your friends that you know about the parts of your friend. And then you get to meet somebody who has experienced a whole different side of your friend. Random fact though, that happens at funerals as well, because you get to realize how dynamic and just how dynamic this person is, that there's so many sides to them. And I think it's such a cool thing. So the more you have hobbies, the more interests you have and all that kind of stuff, please always be open to meeting people. Be open to meeting people. Be open to going to new spaces you've never been. Be open to trying things you've never tried before. You never know who you're going to meet. It's the best thing ever. So anyway, I made some new friends at my gym, which also, changing gyms. It's a new gym, relatively new. I think I've been there like a month or 2 months now. But it's so interesting because changing gyms is one of the things that really taught me that in this life, you can never say never. There are different things in my life that have shown me you never say never. I will continue to reveal as this podcast goes on. Can't give you all the gems in one episode. But my gym, the gym I'm at now, is the first gym I ever joined. I think I was 16. And how, like, stuff like that blows my mind. Because what do you mean 14 years later, I've ended up in the same place? Crazy. Absolutely. Like, I've ended up in the same place, but I'm in a very different space and place in my life, which actually, when I think about it now, how much was my gym back then? Technically, with the discount I have now, it's only gone up £8. So that's great money management on my part. But yeah. So yeah, I went out for lunch with my new friends at the gym. And I think one of the things I love about meeting new people as well is how you meet people from different walks of life, like from different countries that maybe my forefathers would have never ever imagined they could even be around, right? There's that. But also, just women or men that have very, very different experiences to you. But also, it's so cool because you get to find different ways that you can actually relate with each other. As different as you guys might be, ethnicity-wise, race-wise, culture-wise, tradition-wise, they're always things that bind and bring human beings together. And it's just so beautiful. Like, I feel like such a fairy. I actually feel like such a fairy. I feel like my outlook on life is so, it's so like, la-di-da-di-da, so fun, so nice. But honestly, I absolutely love it. And I absolutely love it because you just get to meet people and talk about and meet them and learn about their experiences and the kind of lives that they've lived and how dynamic it is. And it's just so flipping cool. And then meeting people of different ages. Like, I've got friends who are younger than me. I've got friends who are older than me. It's just so great. It's honestly so great. Like, I just feel like with life, this is why, to be honest, I just think that sometimes when we focus on one particular thing in life, sometimes just don't, because you rob yourself of so many more beautiful things that you could experience. Like, if you have such a mindset where you're only looking at the things that you know, you only want to experience what it is that you know, you're closed off to try new things, to meeting new people, to exploring new spaces. Oh my gosh, like, you are limiting the type of life you can live. You're limiting your growth. And I think that's quite sad. I do. I think it's quite sad. But anyway, I saw a tweet earlier this week. Oh, sorry, admin. Sorry, let me have a sip of my drink, sure. Sorry, I'm not talking about myself. Ciao. Anyway, before I get to the tweet, just a bit of admin. Please kindly like this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video. Also subscribe to the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Doing things like that helps me get on other people's algorithms that kind of watch similar things to you. Also follow me on Instagram. Follow the podcast page on Instagram, Rewriting Lives Canvas. And that is the same on Instagram and on TikTok. Also, what else is there? You can write into me, est at rewritinglifescanvas.com. What else is there? And if you want to follow me personally, of course, you're more than welcome to do that. That is also at my own royalty. I think that's it. So yeah, let's get into today's thing. It might be a quick one there because yo, I've had an off week. I've had a bit of an off week. So once in a while, I have weeks like that where I'm extremely busy with work and there's just so much. Like, even the podcast, I haven't really posted many podcast clips because, too much. It's too much. It's been too much. And just all of that, and what I'm about to, the other thing is that I just realized how much I just feel off. You can't really put a finger on it. You can't explain how it is that you're feeling. You just know that you feel off. And then for me, when I feel off, I feel irritable. I just feel so annoyed at any and everything, which leads me to my next point, right? So I saw a tweet earlier. Do you know what? I think the rebranding of Twitter is one of the most stupid things that ever happened across all centuries, because nobody goes around saying X. Does anybody really? Because then you don't even tweet, you're posting, which is dead. That's so boring. But anyway, I saw someone post on X, because growth. I saw someone post on X about how it must be so nice to have parents that like have very good emotional regulation. That they don't tell you off about any little thing. They don't shout at you. They don't do this. They don't do that. Blah 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 blah. And then someone replied and said that her mum is like that. She said her mum is like that. Never shouted at her. She's never been smacked. Nothing like that. And like, if she makes mistakes, her mum is just like, oh. To be fair, though, it was funny because she said like, if for example she breaks something, her mum is like, oh, which glorious child, which blessed child broke this. Like, she said her mum is incredibly positive and it's something that she appreciates as she walks through life and blah, blah, blah. And it just really had me thinking about regulating our emotions. So that was one of the things that for me in recent years, I wanted to start doing. I wanted to look into, because I just think that, so I realized that I had a lot of frustrations about so many different things, right? So many different things, a plethora of things. But I didn't know how to handle my emotions. And I was also someone who was quite shut off even from emotion. So basically there were emotions that I deemed as negative and emotions that I deemed as positive. Positive is like being happy, being joyful, being excited, the good things. And then I would deem emotions like being angry, being sad, feeling depressed, feeling low. I would deem those as negative emotions. And whenever I would feel negative emotions, I would find a way just to kind of cut it off and just block it off, basically. But a few years ago, I just realized that actually, do you know what? Some of these emotions are right. And some of them as well, I've come to recognize, not come to recognize, but come to learn that some of that was also grief and not understanding, not knowing how to navigate grief. And I really want to have an episode on grief because with grief, we typically just think about someone passing away. But I think that having an absent parent is going through life every single day, having to grieve the absence of this thing. And I think even breakups, you go through a period or a season of grief when you go through a breakup, especially if it's a really bad one. It's a season of grief as well. When you lose friendships, you grieve these things. So it was so interesting to have like different types of I was gonna say, if you guys don't even want to know what word I was about to say, I was gonna say dynamic, right? But I also wanted to say the diversity. I was gonna say dynasty. I don't know what I was gonna say. Silly word I was gonna say. I was gonna make up a word. But it's so interesting how grief is so dynamic and how a lot of the things, sometimes the things that we go through, we don't see it as grief, but actually it is a form of grief, right? A form of actually the different forms of grief, I would say. But anyway, I don't know if this is backed by psychologists. This is just what's going on in my brain. And I think it's facts. But I will do my research, of course. But anyway, so come to find out that some of the emotions, that negative emotions that I had, some of it obviously were part of grief as well, blah, 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 different forms of grief, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, a few years ago, I just decided that I wanted to understand my emotions a bit more. And I also want to have more regulated emotions because I was kind of person where if I get annoyed about something, oh my gosh, that annoyance is sticking with me. That annoyance is here. It's almost like it's here to stay until by chance I just forget about the annoyance. And I really didn't like that. I didn't like that I could be so positive about something and one bad thing could happen and that would then be my focus. I didn't like that. I didn't like how one annoying thing could happen in my day and now my emotions are just all over the place and I'm just unsettled now. I really didn't like that. So I started working on being able to regulate my emotions. And when I think about it, the inability to regulate your emotions really costs us a lot. It's a lot. And it's so interesting because even my thoughts on these are good emotions, they're bad emotions, they're just emotions. They're just emotions. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think being angry is a bad thing. I think what you do from being angry is then what could be a bad thing. To be fair, I just thought about when people say that. So jealousy, right? I don't think jealousy is always a negative emotion. Right? But sometimes people will say, oh, if you're jealous of your friend, let your friend know. Personally, I don't think you should let your friend know that you're jealous of them. Because I always think, what do you want me to do with this information now? You come to me and tell me that you're jealous of me. What do I do with this information? The reality of life is that there's just some things that you need to work out yourself. There are just some things that you need to figure out by yourself. I don't think everything is for sharing with non-professionals. I think you need to speak to a professional about the jealousy that you have towards your siblings, towards your friends, towards your child, towards your mother, towards your parents. I think you need to speak to a professional about that and go down the rabbit hole of understanding why that is and not be telling your friends that I am jealous of you and now they just feel awkward. And now, because if that was me, I wouldn't want to celebrate, I wouldn't want to share anything with you. I wouldn't want to share good news with you. I wouldn't want to share great things happening in my life with you because what if it triggers your jealousy again? Now I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. But anyway, right? What was I saying before that? Yes, regulating emotions and just how important it is. And it's so interesting because we're actually raised, emotion is such a big thing about every human being. And it's so funny when people, so girls are raised to be allowed to cry. Typically, not, obviously this isn't across all households, but typically men are raised not to cry. Because it's so funny. It's so funny. Oh gosh, it's so funny. I'll tell you what's funny in a second. I'm thinking about it in my head before I told you guys, and that's why I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it's so interesting. People will say to boys, don't cry, it's weak. but then you tell girls to cry. So you see women as weak. Crazy to me. It's so crazy. Sometimes we don't think about the words that we're saying and the impact and what it means to the person that's having to receive those words. So anyway, when you think about how it is that we're typically raised, right? Girls are allowed to cry and be emotional and show sadness and stuff, but guys are just expected to not cry, to not show sadness, to not show worry, to not show anxiety, to not even show what's the word? When you're not confident. To not show that they're not confident about stuff. I can't think of the word I'm thinking about. But to not show that. And it's so crazy because just because you don't show an emotion doesn't mean you don't feel it. Because of course you're going to feel that. And so unfortunately, emotions are such a big part of humans, of our experiences as human beings. Even animals show emotions. I remember when I was younger, I don't really like zoos because I can't imagine myself being locked in a cage and I've just got all these weird people looking at me. Unfortunately, that's what some of my ancestors had to go through during slavery. But the idea of zoos with animals, just keeping them in cages, keeping them outside of their natural environment, and then everyone just staring at them and taking pictures of them and flash everywhere. And then I find it so weird and odd and just uncomfortable. And part of it is because when I was younger, I went to a zoo when I was a kid. You see what I'm saying about things don't leave you when you're a child? I went to a zoo when I was a kid and there was a gorilla going crazy. When I tell you, he was angry. This is also why I don't believe in chilling with animals. Because how do I know they're not having a bad day today? I know what I'm like when I'm having a bad day. I avoid human beings. I avoid people, and I know what to do to keep myself away from other people. But if you're an animal that's a public spectacle, when you're having a bad day, you're forced to be around other people. So of course, if a gorilla crashes out, we have to accept it. Of course, if this lion in the safari decides, you know what, actually, this is the last time someone takes a picture of me today, catches an attitude, and now we're running around, now we're doing laps. Imagine me thinking I can do laps with a lion. Actually, it wouldn't be me. You know, sometimes they say never, because it could be you. I promise you could never be me in an animal kingdom being chased by a lion. Do you know why? Because I would never be in there in the first place. I wouldn't find myself there in the first place. Because what if this penguin is having a bad day? Now I've been slapped across the face with this. Are they called fins? What are the things that their hands? The little happy feet hands. Happy feet hands. Anyway, do you know what I mean? So anyway, that's one of the reasons why I don't like zoos. Because when I was a kid, this gorilla was going crazy. Like when I tell you, it was angry and banging on the glass. Actually, of course, you know me. Trust your girl. I legged it. Imagine me standing around waiting for the glass to crack and seeing if the gorilla makes it out. I don't care how thick you say this glass is. There's always one day. There's always one day. As Nigerians will say, every day for the thief, one day for the owner. And today could be the gorilla's day. Not about to be me. So anyway, right? So emotions are such a big part of our lives as human beings that unfortunately, it really breaks down relationships. It really, really breaks down relationships. Like I've lost friendships. I've lost the people that I'm not as close to that I once was because you don't know how to regulate your emotions and you think that it's everybody else. Like you think that your emotions, or however it is that you're feeling, has to be other people's burdens. And again, there's just some things that, of course, there are things that people can help you with. You know, if any of my friends are feeling sad, feeling down, feeling low, I want to know about it. I want to know and let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on. But also as well, there's still a level of self-work that you need to be able to do to make it make sense. And so I find it so interesting how we raise girls, you be this way, raise boys, you be that way. And then we tell this person, you're not allowed to do that. Like you can't feel this way. You can't feel that way. But just because you're told not to feel something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And that's why, again, rewriting life's canvas, growing in life, evolving in life is recognizing that your emotions don't make you weak. It's normal. It's how life is meant to be. Like the way God created us, we're meant to have moments where we feel sad. We're meant to have moments where we feel low. We're meant to have moments where we're happy. We're meant to have moments where we feel joyful. We're meant to have moments where we need downtime. That's one of my biggest things. Like when I'm overwhelmed and I've been working and I've just had a very busy week, I always need downtime. Even when I socialize, if I socialize back to back to back to back, I need downtime. I always need downtime because I get overwhelmed and I can feel it in my spirit. I just don't feel calmness. My nervous system doesn't feel regulated, which is a big thing as well. Look into nervous system regulation. That is such a big thing. That is such a big, and you know, like when sometimes you feel like, oh, I feel butterflies and you just have a bad feeling about something. That is your nervous system warning you, or not even warning you, is sending you signals to look out and to be careful, be mindful of the environment that you're in and what you're currently experiencing. And a lot of these things we ignore. A lot of these things we just pass off as nothing. But it's absolutely normal for every human being. I'm sorry, I can't imagine being with a partner that doesn't feel that feels like being sad is weak. That feels like crying is weak. I'm sorry. It's crazy. Like, people lose someone that's close to them and you're telling them not to cry because it's weak. Or you feel that because you're a man, you shouldn't show any emotions. It's normal. I used to feel, it's so interesting that because I say all of that with men. I mean, I don't like the way, there's a lot of ways that men are raised that I really don't like. And I think that I love when I find podcasts or men who have built platforms of what it is to be healthy as a man. Because again, the suicide rates with men is alarming. It's absolutely alarming and something needs to be done about it. And it starts with men understanding that it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to not have things figured out. It's okay to let go of these pressures that's placed on you as a man to be a provider, to know what's going on, to be able to make plans, to lead. Please, enjoy your time here, like the rest of us. Well, the rest of us aren't really having a great time, but you know what I mean? Try and enjoy your time as a human being. It's so important to not have these pressures on you. But as much as I say that, even the way men are, like, I used to think, I'm a very emotional person. I'm an empath. I lean into it now as an adult because it's taken years of self-work to stop seeing it as a flaw. To stop seeing it as a flaw and to stop seeing it as something that was horrible about me and the worst thing about me. I'm an emotional person. I'm an empath. I could see someone who looks sad and cry because my spirit is drawn to them and I can just feel that all is not well with them. Like, I can be in a room of people and everyone is laughing or whatever, and I could just look to somebody by chance and I can feel that their spirit is low. I can feel that they're not really, that all isn't well with them. That's how much of an empath God has created me to be. And for the longest time, for many years, I'll be honest with you, actually, if I'm going to be transparent, even recently, I was just like, I hate the fact that I care so much. I hate the fact that I'm someone who, when I know someone has a problem, I just want to jump into the mode of, oh, how can I help? How can I help you? I hate that. Sometimes I hate it. But heavy is ahead. And I'm now in a place where I appreciate it so much. And I see it as a beautiful thing. I see it as a gift from God, because the world needs that. The world needs people who go out of their way to care. The world needs people who are thoughtful. Like, everyone in their life needs somebody who is thoughtful. Everyone needs someone who cares about them. And so for a long time, I just felt like being an emotional person was weak. Like, I would hate that I cried. I never really cried around people either. It was me crying in secret. So imagine me crying in secret, but then feeling guilt and not even guilt, feeling shame for crying in secret. Not fun at all. Not great, but it's something that over the years now I have intentionally stopped speaking so negative to myself about it. Because it's a beautiful thing. And it's normal. Like, it's normal for me to see someone that's going through a hard time and feel sorry for them. And that makes me sad. Of course it's normal. It's normal for someone to do something that's hurtful to me and for me to cry about it. I remember back in the day, I used to give myself 3 days to cry. I give myself 3 days to cry and I say, after this, you're not crying about it anymore. Now, if I want to cry for a year, I'm going to cry for a year. Life goes on in between, of course. But if I think about something and it's sad, I sometimes sit down with myself and I look back and I think, oh, damn, like, that wasn't nice. But regulating your emotions is so important. It will cost you. It will cost you. It can cost you your livelihood. Like, when you think about, even for example, road traffic, or not even just road traffic, but just people that just go off, they're annoyed about something or angry about something, and they do something that's irreversible now. You've just started a fight. You've started a fight, And now the other person's in the hospital, or even worse, they've died. Now you're in jail. Like, I can't imagine how foolish one must feel being in jail thinking, if only I had just let that go. If only I just let that situation go. If only I just let that incident go. It's so important. Oh, I've got itchy nose. It's so important to be able to regulate your emotions, to sit with them. Like, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to sit with my emotions. If I'm feeling sad, because the thing is as well, being a woman is so long as well because your hormones. Like, sometimes it's a hormonal thing, and sometimes I sit there, I feel sad today, and I'm like, what? Okay, what's happened? And I trace back my thoughts. I follow, like, what's happened today? Where did I go today? What have I seen today? I trace that back. There's a thing I do, actually. I sit with my emotions as well. I mean, to be fair, some guys I dated in the past found it a little bit scary. They would do something crazy, and I would just be like, okay, one sec, let me just give me a moment. And I just sit there. I remember some guy told me one time that he doesn't know if I'm going to burn his house down, or if I'm he's like, this could go both ways. I don't know if you're going to crash out, or if you're going to come back and be so ever so loving and forgiving. But I really believe in just sitting with your emotions, because I just think that there's certain things that you can do that you can't come back from. Unfortunately, there are friendships that I've lost because people did things, and I'm just like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Why would you react that way? Over what? Because the reality is that they're just something that you can never come back from. You can try to, or you like, but there's just some things that you can't come back from. And I just don't think it's worth taking those risks. So I'd rather sit with my emotions and really think about it and really try and figure out what I'm doing, where I'm going, than just crash out in the moment and then come back and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Because the reality is that, one thing about me, for example, right? The reality is that people wouldn't forget how you made them feel. I'm very big on that. I'm very, very, very big on that. Like, I don't forget how people make me feel. I can't forget how people make me feel. If something happens, something negative happens, the same way we hold on to beautiful memories and beautiful feelings, where like you listen to a song, for example, and it takes you back to that phase of your life you were in, or where you remember something and you just remember how it was that you felt in that moment. It's the same when negative things happen. When I tell you, it feels like I'm living in that moment all over again. And I find it's so interesting to me. So it's so important to learn how to regulate your emotions. Learn how to regulate emotions, because it can really cost you so much. The people that have lost beautiful relationships because you were annoyed in a moment and you said something that now your partner is just like, yeah, I'm not coming back from that. Like, I hear you. I'm not holding a grudge. I forgive you, but we can't come back from that, because that was absolutely wild what you've just said. That was absolutely wild what you've just done. And it's scary. It's scary. But yeah, it's important. I mean, I think that people always say that, that communication, people always say communication is key. But I actually think that emotional regulation is key. Because you can communicate all you like in a relationship. You can let people know how you feel, blah, 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 blah. But if you don't know how to regulate your emotions, the way you receive it and the way you express it can really make or break things. Sometimes people they say they're communicating, you're just shouting at each other. Or we're talking about something. It doesn't have to even be shouting. We're talking about something, but you're not hearing me. You're listening to respond and not listening to understand. So it's just back and forth, back and forth. Technically, that's communication. To be fair, I actually don't know if communication... Let's see. Let's Google it quickly. I don't know if communication means healthy, but I'm sure there's bad communication. Meaning. There we go. So communication is a dynamic process of exchanging information, ideas, and emotions between a sender and receiver. Yeah, see? It doesn't have to... The definition isn't just good. So people do be communicating. But being able to regulate your emotions, being able to express how you're feeling in a genuine way, always so key. It's so, so key. And that's another thing. When you sit with your emotions, it really teaches you to understand what you're feeling and like the difference in the things that you're feeling. Because sometimes what you might think, for example, is jealousy is not jealousy. It's a feeling of inadequacy. It's you judging yourself. It's a feeling of shame. Or it's a feeling of it's you not feeling, it's insecurity. What you think is jealousy might actually just be your insecurity. Because sometimes people are jealous of things that they don't even want. Do you know why that is? That you're jealous of something that you don't even want. Like, you've seen someone be successful doing whatever they're doing. But the thing is, the success that they have, the success that they've gained, you don't even want that. You don't. You don't want that. They don't even work in your field. They're not doing anything that, yeah. So when you sit with your emotions, you're really able to break down what it actually could be. And not just assuming it is that. What you might think is anger is just embarrassment. What you might think is anger is embarrassment. What you might think is shame is actually just embarrassment. Like, it's so important that when you sit with your emotions, you're really able to break down what it is that you're feeling, and then able to then attach the relevant, or the accurate, actually, I should say, the accurate emotion to that feeling. And from there, you know what to do, moving on after that. But I really do think about that, like when it comes to even like just your experiences with people in general. But it was just so interesting that the initial post I saw was about children and raising children. And it's just so important, because I don't see a world in which where the people that are close to you, or people that, like your friends, your family, people that you love, should have to be on the negative side of you not knowing how to figure out your emotions, you not working on yourself enough to be able to figure out your emotions. It's just not it, man. It's not it. So if you've learned anything today, let it be to sit with your emotions. Sit with your emotions. Try and figure out why you're feeling the way you're feeling, what's brought on the feeling that you're feeling, and how you can move on from that, how you can move forward with that. Because sometimes it's not what you think it is. It's not as it seems. But it's so important, man. But anyway, regulate your emotions. A quick one today. Quick one. But let's go on to my favorite segment. Unpopular should be popular opinions. Do you know what? I think this week is quite wholesome. This week is not me throwing shade at anything I don't actually like. I think it's wholesome, and I hope it's something that more people start to adopt, because it is how it is that we speak on ourselves, and it's to do with feelings and emotions and stuff like that. But anyway, right? You know how when someone does something really well, they do something really well, and when it comes to speaking on this thing that they do really well, there's this kind of embarrassment and shyness and shame attached to speaking up about how well you do something. I don't understand. We need to unnormalize that, actually. Yeah. We need to stop. That needs to stop being a thing. That really needs to stop being a thing. The idea of, so for example, if someone has a business and you're having a conversation where it makes sense for you to say, oh, I have a business where I do this, they say, oh, there's always this prefix of, oh, shameless plug. But why is it a shameless plug? Is it shameless because you're by announcing shameless plug? I personally think that you are showing shame. So how shameless really is it? Do you know what I mean? I just think that if you're good at something, if you have skills, if you have gifts, if there's a business that you run or whatever the case, I just think that we should all walk in confidence of the things that we're able to do. Because the world is so vast and the world is so dynamic that it's beautiful that we all get to bring different things to the table and contribute different things to the world. And so there shouldn't be any feeling of shame or even judging yourself and being like, oh, I'm not being proud. Because you know what, I think people have this fear of other people seeing them as being proud or arrogant. And I don't think that speaking on how well you do something or speaking of something that you're good at is you being proud, is you being arrogant. Or we know people that are arrogant and proud. We can tell. Because we just want them to stop talking and we're just over it. And they talk down on other people and they make other people feel like they're not great. So it's never a bad thing to open to big up yourself. So that's my unpopular should be popular opinion this week. There is no shame attached to bigging up yourself. There is no shame attached to you speaking on something that you do well. Big up yourself. If you don't appreciate the talent, skills, knowledge that you have, who will? If you are shy about plugging yourself, who will? You are the best PR for yourself. You are the best person to market yourself. And so let's normalize making excuses or giving what's the word I'm trying to find? Disclaimers. That's the word. Let's stop giving disclaimers. I don't know I'm trying to then when I say let's normalize it, the sentence is just not flowing the way I would like it to. So let's just forget that, right? But let's stop making disclaimers when we want to speak about the things that we are great at, things that we are good at, things, or like just saying, I did this the other day and I'm very proud of it. I did this the other day and I'm very happy about it. I want to actually introduce a segment where people get to share really cool things that you've done. Like even if it's, I wanted to go to the gym twice this week and I did it twice. I want to hear that. I just think it's beautiful to share these good things. Like every win doesn't have to be massive. Sometimes it's little things. Remember I told you guys about little habits? Little habits become your norm. Little habits become who you are in the future. So yeah, that's why unpopular should be popular opinions. Is that nobody should be out here giving disclaimers of shameless plug before they speak about the great things that they do. Just speak on it. Just speak on it and let us know that you're great about it. Let us know that you're talented. We love to hear it. We love to see it. We're here for it. But anyway, guys, that's it for this week. That is it for this week. Have a blessed week. Have a great week. Have a positive week. This week, if you're someone who struggles with understanding your emotions a bit more, also actually a big tip, journaling helps. Journaling helps. Like sometimes I would struggle to understand my emotions and how it was I was feeling, and actually writing it down. No, not physically writing, but typing it down, typing it out, writing it out basically. It's basically like spelling it out, and it really, really makes a difference. It really, really helps because once you put your thoughts on paper or on your notes pad or note app, it really makes a difference. It helps you gain a better insight to how you're feeling. So this week, do that. Challenge yourself to that this week. Well, challenge yourself to that onto the next episode, right? And just try and understand your emotions a bit more. And not just your emotions, try and understand other people's emotions a bit more as well. Do you know what I mean? Don't take things so personally sometimes. But it's important. So I'll see you guys, as always, on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're on Spotify, you can leave comments, actually, which would be really nice. It'd be nice to read some of your comments. And let me know your thoughts at different points of the podcast. Let me know if you agree with my thoughts. Yes, please interact with me. Let me know if you agree with my thoughts. If you don't like what I'm saying, if you think what I'm saying is silly or whatever, let me know. What do you think? If you have topic ideas as well, or something that you want me to talk about, or if you see something that you would like, if you see something going on in the world that you think I would like to hear Esther's opinion on this, send it my way. Drop me a DM. Email me, rewritinglifescanvas.com. Let me know. Let me know how you feel. But if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I think that's it. Follow the podcast page on Instagram and on TikTok. And I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.